Chahrouri alongside the big guy, Eric Eager. We had Dallas last night and we sweated through it, but onside kicks aside, made it through pretty cleanly. And as we look ahead now, there are a lot of games where maybe we're doing the same thing, but we want to think about it clearly so that we make the right bet here. So remember last week when we did this, a lot of value early in the week. We actually hit on all three of the bets that we mentioned then, Dallas being one of them. And so we're going to do it again this week. I'll remind you, head to ProFootballFocus.com to check out PFF Greenline, where you can see all of the picks for all of the games. And of course, tomorrow you'll see those for week 3. Okay, so Monday Night Football, Seattle goes into Chicago. Right now, Chicago a 4.5 point favorite. We know where the edge lies at the quarterback position. My question to you is there's questions everywhere else. So how does that all fall out?
Yeah, so Bobby Wagner's out, Shaquem Griffin's hurt, KJ Wright's out. You know, the roster for Seattle minus Wilson is just not very good. The Bears, I think, are a little bit better there, but again, the decided advantage at the quarterback position, I think, is keeping this game from being a touchdown spread and actually keeps us, you know, still in favor of Seattle in this one against the spread.
Yeah, it's tough because of all those other injuries, and it was tough for us to pick Dallas because we weren't quite sure about Dak Prescott.
Yep.
Here, we know the quarterback is elite, and I'm willing to ride with that and side with the math here. So I'm going to go ahead and stick to our guns and go with the pick, which is Seattle at the moment. Let's look ahead to Thursday night, where two storied franchises, the Browns and the Jets, are meeting. Two of the top quarterbacks in the draft. One on the bench, one is going to play. The Browns are favored by 3.5, though. How does that make you feel?
It's never going to make me comfortable with the Browns' favor. They were favored by 3 this morning. Now it's 3.5, so somebody's comfortable with them being favored here. I do think Sam Darnold has looked pretty good, especially for the youngest rookie to ever start a game at quarterback. You know, the Dolphins are a pretty good team, so I don't necessarily put that loss as a really big negative for the Jets. So I think we'd probably lean a little bit the Jets here.
Yeah, it's tough for me to ever think of the Browns as being more than a field goal favorite, and I think the reason that is they've played tough against two generally very good teams.
Yep.
But I'm not sure those teams are playing their best football, and they've had a huge advantage turnover-wise.
Yes.
Right, New Orleans, and then of course Pittsburgh, which had a turnover festival in week 1. So those are things that even though they happen in 2 weeks, I don't expect to continue, and if it stays at 3.5, I have a strong feeling that the math is going to like the Jets in this one, and I really have no problem with that. Let's look at one more game, because this is a pitting of our two teams here, the Niners and the Chiefs. Chiefs are on fire. Niners, not so much,
Yep.
but we kind of know what Jimmy G is capable of. At the moment, it's a 7-point spread, Chiefs being favored, of course. So where do you think we'll end up there?
Yeah, so 6.5 this morning's moved out to 7. I think for a big reason being that the Chiefs, we knew that their defense was going to be bad going into week 1. We knew it was going to be bad going into week 2. And they continue to cover against teams that many thought were playoff teams in the Chargers and the Steelers. And so, you know, what's to bet on them again, right? So I think that we're going to see a lot of public money on the Chiefs here. We might see this number go out to 7, 7.5 by the end of the week. But for our sake, I think we'll probably like San Francisco because the Chiefs do have the worst defense in our PFF Massey rankings. And I think San Francisco does not, you know, their quarterback play is, I think still something we want to bet on a little bit more than a 2-start sample out of Patrick Mahomes.
It's tough because in those 2 starts,
I mean, he's been great.
He's been amazing. So I do think the public is going to have a really hard time betting on anyone other than the Chiefs when the Chiefs are playing, at least for the time being, especially what they did to the Steelers. But I think there's a lot of value in some of the underdogs this week. I'm not going to go all the way to Buffalo yet. I think that number's at 17, but I'm willing to go with Jimmy G at a touchdown or, you know, a touchdown and a half point. So as of right now, that's where we're leaning. You'll have to check out PFF Greenline to see all of our picks for the rest of the week. Of course, we'll be back on Thursday with our podcast, the PFF Forecast, where we'll give you all of our picks for the upcoming week, and of course, our lock of the week on Friday.